On this episode of Eat, Sleep, Drive, it's another car review, but not just any car review. On this one, we got mountains, we got snow, we got turbo, and of course, Porsche. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I am in a unfortunate predicament. I decided to come to Colorado for the weekend because I wanted to do some hiking and exploring. Went and did Sky Pond, which ended up being a lot more challenging than I thought because I don't know if you can tell in the background, but it's snowing, and it's snowing quite hard. To further complicate things, I wanted to switch it up and not rent just a regular car. So I rented a turbo Porsche Cayman. Not really the best idea for snowy conditions. But that's what adventures are about, right? Bringing inappropriate equipment to hard to reach places. So we're going to start off in the snow and talk about this car, and then on the way here I just went through some awesome mountain passes that I'm so stoked to drive in, and hopefully they're dry. But let's go for a ride. Porsche Cayman. This one is a 07. It's a regular Cayman, but it has a turbo on it. That's pretty cool. The owner put a TPC turbo kit on it, and it supposedly makes 500 horsepower. 400 horsepower. Excuse me, not 500. 400 horsepower, and it's really fun. I'm going to get to the more fun stuff when hopefully I get to a dry mountain pass. But unfortunately right now, this is the situation. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some of the ergonomics of this car. Let's start with visibility. Really good visibility. There's, the back hatch is just glass. I got this extra little glass window next to the side window here, and I can just see like really well out of it, and I feel very low. And that is because the front wheel arches, I can see them as I just sit here in the seat. It reminds me, if you guys have been watching my channel for a while, I had that Lotus Elise. It reminds me a lot of the Lotus Elise in that regard, and that you're so low in the car, you can see the front fenders. It just looks cool. I can see the rear fenders. This car's got big hips, and you can see that nice line in the side mirror. So I'm in a super low seating position, which is great. And I really like this seat. Really big fan of this seat. It's hugging me really tight. I'm a thinner guy, so it fits me well. And it's leather and heated, which is quite nice when you end up in the snow. The interior is pretty straightforward, like very easy to operate. Very obviously driver-centric. This car is about driving. Two things that I do not like so far. First of all is this shifter. I was always under the impression that Porsche shifters are like the best, and I think they are, but this one is either super worn out because it's like very sloppy, or it's like some aftermarket garbage. But I'm not very happy with the shifter. I oftentimes don't even know what gear I'm going in, especially when I'm downshifting. Upshifting doesn't seem to be as much of a problem, but downshifting is like, am I in fourth or second? The other small nitpick that I will say is these pedals are a little bit offset to the right, so I kind of feel like I'm pointing more towards the center of the car. I do believe that is because this car is so small and the front wheels are right there, so they didn't have enough room to kind of scoot it over a little bit. Minor nitpick, but my feet are kind of jammed over towards the center console. Other than that, fantastic little car. I really like the size of it. Keep going back to Elise. It's not quite as small as an Elise. It's not quite as light as an Elise, but it has that feel, and it feels kind of like a premium Elise, which I'm really digging so far. I'm really looking forward to stretching this old Porsche's, it's not even that old, this Porsche's legs when we get on some dry roads. I'm going to show you. I mean, this car is pretty cool. This turbo kit makes it a pretty interesting experience, and the turbo noises are great. So let's keep driving here, get towards a drier area, and then we can start tearing it up. All right, we're out of the mess, we're out of the snow, we're out of the rain. The road's still maybe a little bit damp, so we're gonna be a little bit careful, but we have to experience this turbo. Oh boy. This is like one of those old school turbo cars, just because it's kind of laggy and there's a lot of buildup, but when that turbo spools, it is beautiful. Yeah, it's pretty much all top end. There's a lot of lag, but awesome noises. Give it to the people. Oh, you hear that bypass valve? What I do like about this turbo kit is that I'm getting turbo noises, which I absolutely love, but this is a Porsche flat six, and that also makes beautiful noises as well, and I'm still getting that sort of traditional Porsche engine noise, which I really enjoy. So even though it's turboed, it hasn't sort of ruined the exhaust note. I like this exhaust. It's an aftermarket exhaust, but it's not obnoxious. It's actually pretty quiet, pretty civilized, but it gives you enough noise that an enthusiast would enjoy. So it's a nice balance, especially in something like a Porsche. Like, I wouldn't want something just terribly obnoxious. Turbos are awesome, but this is a Cayman. So do you still get the Cayman-ness from this turbo base Cayman? And the answer is yes. Obviously, we haven't ruined the steering or anything. The steering is still typical Porsche, typical Cayman, and it is on point. Like, it is probably my favorite part about this car. The important thing is the feel that you get from the wheel itself, and it's on point. I know exactly what's going on with these front tires, and it's just money. There's a little more body roll than I expected. It's not a lot, and this car is on coilovers, so it's a little firmer than your standard car, but a little more than I expected. But I love the handling of this thing. It's super neutral, and the body roll isn't even really a problem. I expected something a little more stiff, and it's actually very compliant. The other thing, though, that I'm a huge fan of as we go through these kind of like winding roads here are the brakes on this car. My goodness. Super firm pedal, which I really like. So you can go as far as you need to and have just as much pressure as you want. I really hate over boosted brake systems where it's like you kind of barely get on it and it's applying so much pressure. Unfortunately, because this is just the base Cayman, it just has a 5-speed, which kind of feels weird, especially with this turbo, because the gears are so long in this car because it's only got 5 gears, and the turbo is so laggy, so it's taking time to get back in the power band. A nice like close ratio 6-speed would be so awesome in this car, because you could just keep it in boost and you can keep it in that upper power band. But unfortunately, you're stuck with the 5-speed. But hey, at least it's a manual. At least it's not an automatic. Loving this turbo though. God, I just keep making these turbo noises. It's quite addicting to do in this car, and is putting quite a smile on my face, and especially now that I'm out of the snow, I'm out of the rain, and it's just like a beautiful Colorado day. As I start to think about summing this car up, I'm beginning to have an internal struggle, because I'm very happy to have driven this car. I really like this car. The problem is, I like it so much, I really want a Porsche now. Now, this is, albeit like a bit of a, I don't want to say Frankenstein, but it's a bit odd, a turbo Cayman that's a little bit odd. But the turbo is certainly a big part of the reason I like it. But the other part is, this reminds me so much of my Lotus Elise, but without any of the downsides. look, you can tell me how badass you are that you daily drive your Elise, and that's great. But for me, that car just beats you up. There's no way of getting around it. You're lying to yourself if you're telling me that car is comfortable. So this is very much like a Lotus Elise, but it's comfortable, and I like the engine more. It certainly has more character. The steering is on point, just like an Elise. It handles super well. And it's just, like I said, it's an Elise without the downsides. Like, you don't have to deal with, the awkward getting in pretzel, turn yourself into a pretzel to get in like you do in the Elise. You don't have to explain this car to people. You just get in and drive. So I'm having, like I said, a bit of a crisis because now I would really, really like a Porsche. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. This was a strange review, starting off in the snow in a wildly inappropriate car. But I hope you guys got to experience this car a little bit, got to hear the turbo noises. It's, like I said, it's pretty interesting little build here, turbocharging a base Cayman. Kind of strange, but I dig it. I definitely dig it. I appreciate you guys watching as always, and I'll see you next time. Yeah, this is really stupid. But sometimes you gotta just get that shot. You just gotta get that shot. Is it still on? Sometimes you gotta get that shot. The most frustrating thing about this beautiful road are these people. Like, there are a million people on this road and they're all going 2 miles an hour. Turn that off. Oh shit. Okay, bro. Let's chill out on that. Chill out on that fan.